The Arizona primaries are now in the books. Who won, who lost, and what message did the voters send? Plus, Kamala Harris is expected to stop by the Valley this week. We talked to the leader of the Arizona Democratic Party about their new presumptive presidential nominee. Next on Politics Unplugged.
Good evening. I'm political editor Dennis Welch, and this is Politics Unplugged. It's been a big couple of weeks in the election race. With the primary elections behind us, we now know the nominees in some of the key races this fall, and the Democrats have a new presidential candidate coming to town. Here to talk about all of that is Yolanda Beharano, the chairwoman of the Arizona Democratic Party. Thank you for taking some time to stop by here and talk with us. And let's start with, let's go start with the big news story here. We got Kamala Harris is expected to be coming here into town. I want to get your reaction, first of all, to what has been transpiring over the past couple of weeks. Big shakeup on the top of the ticket. Joe Biden has decided not to seek a second term, and the party has really coalesced very quickly behind Harris. She now looks like she's the presumptive nominee of the party. Let's get your reaction from this.
Yeah, Joe Biden did the patriotic thing. He put country before party. We are so grateful for his leadership. He's passed historic pieces of legislation. And now, with him stepping aside, Vice President Harris has brought in new enthusiasm, energy, excitement to this race, and we are so excited.
And looking back now, as hindsight being perfect vision, as we know that it is, did Biden, was he a problem heading into the November? Because we're seeing polling, we're seeing new money coming in, new energy that wasn't there before. Was this going to be problematic had Joe Biden stayed in the race?
We always knew this was going to be a very tough race. And what we're seeing now, within a week of Vice President Harris' announcement, she raised $200 million. We're seeing hundreds of thousands of new volunteers. I was just in East Mesa door knocking, and a lady showed up, a volunteer who had not been door knocking since Bill Clinton ran for president. And we're seeing that across the state. I was just in Yuma County yesterday in San Luis doing a voter town hall, and folks are excited.
And let's talk a little bit about, the process here. The party got behind Kamala Harris very quickly. And it's a story in and of itself, because there was a lot of concern heading into all this, when there was a lot of speculation. Was Biden going to stay? Was he going to drop out? That if he left and Kamala Harris was his pick to succeed him, that it might split the party, it might fracture the party. But now that the party has coalesced so quickly behind her, you're hearing attacks from Republicans saying that you're the party that's disenfranchising voters out there, that millions of primary voters voted for Joe Biden in the primary election. How do you respond to that criticism?
Well, folks voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. She's the vice president. He chose her as the vice president. Look, across the country, we saw state parties and a lot of Democrats coalesce behind Vice President Harris, because we know that she's the one that can prosecute the case against Donald Trump. She's been putting away criminals, convicted felons away for a long time, and that's the person that could take on Donald Trump. Okay,
now we've got Harris coming to town. Does this mean Arizona is kind of a battleground state again? It was looking like Donald Trump was pulling away in the polls. I believe the polling averages had him up somewhere between 7% and 9% very recently. Can Arizona be a battleground state? And your thoughts on whether Mark Kelly could make it even more competitive here?
We are a battleground state. Yes, we are a battleground state. I think Senator Kelly would be a fantastic pick. We saw in Arizona what he did in 2020 and 2022, bringing out young folks. He brings in excitement and energy, and he would be a fantastic pick for vice president. Okay, and again, Kamala brings Arizona, puts that back in play, you think? Absolutely. Think Kamala can win this? Because what are you seeing from your perch? Is that the Arizona Democratic Party? What kind of money are you seeing in support, enthusiasm? Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, we're seeing a lot of folks go to our website and sign up to volunteer. We're doing town halls across the state. We're seeing more people come out now more than ever before. People are so excited. Last night I talked to a lady, Lori, who at the end of our town hall in San Luis, she said, we're not only seeing, the idea that we can win, but we're seeing hope and we're seeing joy. And this is what people are feeling. And you should have seen the folks on the ground. They're excited. They're happy. They feel like this was a reset point, and we couldn't be more thrilled. Okay, and now heading into with the primaries now in the books,
A lot of the races, we know what the matchups are going to be in the fall. There's still some primary races that are too close to call, including one key race, CD3, Democratic race down there. But how does this shape up? Let's talk with the top race here in the state, that Senate race, with Ruben Gallegos getting ready to challenge Kari Lake, or they're at it already. You know, this shake-up on the top of the ticket, everything else going on. How are you feeling about that race?
Oh, you know, Ruben Gallego is a veteran. He comes from a working class background. His single mom brought him up with his sisters. He knows what it means to struggle. He, you know, has served us here at the legislature for many years, and then went on to Congress and has been a true leader, leading pieces of legislation that are going to help Arizonans for generations to come. He is doing everything he should be doing, crisscrossing the state, whereas Kari Lake, talking about election denialism, she's still saying she's the governor. She said abortion was, you know, she says all this crazy stuff about abortion. She's just not fit to be senator. Yeah,
and there's a couple of other key races here, congressional races, but do you feel the immigration issue is one of the top issues among the minds of voters? The Biden administration did not have a good record when it came to that immigration issue. Do you think that's going to be a hindrance for some of your candidates in the fall?
Well, the fact of the matter is there was a bipartisan border security bill that was presented, right? It was a bipartisan bill, and the Republicans completely tanked it because Donald Trump wants to play politics with our border. We just saw J.D. Vance yesterday wearing like a Western shirt, taking a photo op.
Tradition.
Right. Well, and that's what they do. They look at this as like a costume, a photo op, put on a cowboy hat and go to the border. I'm from a border town. You know, there are real problems, and that's why all border mayors just endorsed Vice President Harris. They know that Democrats offer solutions and Republicans just want to play politics. And
conversely, Democrats are very, bullish on that they're going to be lifted with this abortion access ballot initiative. How do you see that?
Absolutely. Whenever abortion's on the ballot, Democrats win. People across the political spectrum do not want the government interfering in such a private, personal decision that is abortion, that should be between a woman, her family, and her doctor. All
right, I want to thank you very much for stopping by here and taking some time out of your day. And still ahead, we'll bring in our panel to look at the primary results. The matchups are set in the races for the Senate and House seats. We'll break them down when Politics Unplugged continues. And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. The primary results are in, so we now know the candidates to represent our state in Washington. Let's bring in our panel, Republican consultant Marcus DelArtino and Democrat consultant Stacey Pearson. Thank you both for being here. Let's start with the big federal races right now, and obviously the U.S. Senate race is one of the races that's getting a lot of attention, obviously here, but across the country. A lot of implications on the balance of power in the Senate, resting on the outcome of that race. But let's start with the primary results. Ruben Gallego ran unopposed, so no shock there that he got 100% of the vote. Wow, right? But in the Republican race, it was a contested race. Kari Lake was the odds-on favorite, but she only got 55% of the vote. Now, when you talk to the Lake people, they are championing this. It's a 15, 16-point victory over Mark Lamb. It's a good thing. It's a solid margin. And they're like, yeah, 15, 16-point victory in a general election race. Yeah, that's a really solid victory. But 55%, over 200,000 people did not vote for Kari Lake in this primary. Is this a problem?
I would say, if I were the Lake campaign, what I would say to you is that, there were two candidates she was running against. So you had one candidate who was drafting 7% off, and then, of course, Mark Lamb. And I would say that under that scenario, we did pretty good. Because most people are forgetting about the third candidate in the race. I will tell you that there is cause for concern. Within, the Republican Party, everybody's a little bit worried about those folks coming home. Will they eventually come home? Yes, they will. Will Mark Lamb probably endorse Kari Lake? I don't know if he's done that, but I would assume that he would. And the base will coalesce and come back. But the problem is with the fundraising. And what happens is that sends a signal into D.C., and D.C. starts to say, we're not too sure she can win. So she needs to put the press on now and convince people, look, I was trying to save money. We were looking at polling. We knew we were up. I didn't want to spend. I wanted to save my resources for the general election and get that message to the D.C. so she can get the money coming back in.
Yeah, and as the Democrat, you look at that. What's the messaging there for Rubin, for Democrats, if you're trying to, because he's going to need Republicans, he's going to need independents,
of course,
and whatnot to win his race. What's the messaging there to maybe keep some of those Republicans who didn't vote for Carrie Lake in the primary from coalescing, as Marcus is saying, and supporting Lake in the general election?
That's been Rubin's campaign plan from the jump. He is talking about his military service. He's talking about his combat experience. He's talking about his service as an elected official in our state, the work that he's gotten done, the coalitions that he's built. Rubin has such an advantage, and having the veteran community behind him, some of the more recent ads are just gives you chills. They're so good. So he really does have the advantage there.
And let's get your brief take. How's this play out? Who do you think ends up winning this general election? What do you think the big issues are going to be here this fall?
You know, everybody's forgetting there's a presidential election going on, and the tables have completely turned in the last few weeks. So much rides on Harris. And is she able to keep it tight? All she has to do is keep it tight in Arizona. I'm not even saying she has to win Arizona, but she has to keep it tight. Why? Because the money follows. And if you're the Harris campaign and you're bringing that money into Arizona, where are you going to concentrate it? You're going to make sure Rubin wins. You're going to make sure Amish Shah wins. You're going to make sure all these Democrats have support to win. If it comes down to, they say, look, Arizona's not competitive for us. The Harris campaign, we're going to go compete in the Northeast, and they pull their money out, then I would say that there's a good chance that Republicans can sort of clean the board and wipe up, because voter turnout will be greater for Republicans than Democrats.
Okay, let's move on now down ballot a little bit to the congressional races. And, you know, we tape on Friday, and there's a big primary Congressional 3 race. It's the race to replace Ruben Gallego's U.S. House seat.
Right.
And as of Friday morning, that is still too close to call. I believe Yasmin Ansari is leading Raquel Tehran by less than 500 votes, about 467 votes last time I checked as of today. Why is this race so close?
Oh, so much money was spent after ballots were mailed by outside groups to paint both of these candidates in a particularly negative light. I would say none of that is true, right? We're talking about two progressives, two Democrats that bleed blue. And nonetheless, they were both painted as the MAGA aligned groups. I mean, we're misusing the word. The word it doesn't apply to either of those women.
Agreed.
And we're also
But that's what happens in these primaries, because there's really no difference on policy with these two candidates.
Absolutely not. Yeah. It is 100% a popularity contest, and the mail pieces that folks were getting were absolutely bonkers. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that one shapes up.
Okay, and
Dennis, it's also what happens when there's too much money in politics.
100%.
The special interests were defining this campaign, not the candidates. Sorry.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the big Republican race, because just like the CD3 race, that district leans so far to the left that whoever ends up winning that primary will go on and get that, likely get that seat. Over in the West Valley, you had a big Republican primary to replace Debbie Lesko, and it looks like Abe Hamadeh has won that race. He bested, he bested Blake Masters. Both of them ended up with the Trump endorsement in that race. How did Abe pull this off?
Well, it signals, clearly even Trump was looking at the polling numbers and going, I got to hedge my bets, because it's somewhat unprecedented that you endorse two people in the same race. And all the polling coming out, minus one poll, had Masters up by a couple points. So I think, one, he was, what helped Abe was the turnout, and certainly they had an advantage there. And also, I think Trent Frank's participation in that race drafted significantly from another candidate, which would have changed the dynamics. Had he gotten out of the race, I think we'd be looking at a different outcome.
And it also still shows the power of the Trump endorsement, right? Because you had House Speaker Ben Toma, the current House Speaker for Arizona, Ben Toma, and he came in third or fourth in that race, I believe.
Yeah, and I've said this for God knows how many years now. I mean, the Trump endorsement is important, but it is not everything. You still actually have to conduct a campaign, and I think that's exactly what happened.
All right, and there was one other big competitive primary for Democrats. That was in CD1, the winner of which is now going to go on and take on David Schweikert, incumbent, who's been there, it seems like, forever at this point. And it looks like former state lawmaker Amish Shah won that race, with second place Andre Cherney, former chairman of the Democratic Party, conceding just the other night. during that primary, Mr. Shaw was taking a lot of he was being accused of being a Republican in that race.
Right.
He ekes out this victory, but now that brand, him being too moderate, might help him in the general election. Correct?
It's funny you say that. I thought the attacks against both he and Marlene Galan Woods were ridiculous. This district is the one that I live in. There are lots of former Republicans. There are lots of current Republicans who are not MAGA. And so talking about his transition from being a registered Republican to being a lawmaker that leaned left, I thought was actually the ad we should be running in a district that we want to pick up a seat.
All right, we're gonna have to take a break right now, but up next, we'll take a look at the state and local races, including Stephen Richer voted out as Maricopa County Recorder. That's next, right here on Politics Unplugged. And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. There were some key local races in this week's primary. We'll have a change at the Maricopa County Recorder's office and a surprising result in the sheriff's race. Let's bring our panel in next. But first, before we get into some of those local races, Marcus, you said you wanted to say something about that Congressional 1 race that Amish Shaw won.
It was the most fascinating race of the entire night, to be honest with you. And, you cannot underestimate this guy. He was not on TV. He not super huge fundraiser, and beat it on shoe leather. Literally walked door to door and won out that race. So as a Republican, I got to tell David Schweikert, do not relax, do not take a vacation. This guy's real. And frankly, if I had to name, my top 5 hardest campaigners in Arizona, he is definitely up there.
Yeah, and there's going to be Michelle's going to get a lot more money in this race because the DCCC has made that CD1 district one of the top races in the country, along with Congressional District 6 in southern Arizona.
Yeah,
right?
Schweikert barely held on to that seat without much federal investment, national investment in Democrats one cycle ago. So yeah, money's going to fall from the sky to get Amish Shaw over the line, and he's a good candidate. He's a good man. He's exactly what the district wants.
All right, let's move on now down to the county. Some of the county races. The big headline, I think, coming out of Tuesday night was Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richer failed to get through a primary to get to a second term. Mr. Richer, as we all know, is taken a lot of criticism, harassment, taking death threats, for standing up for the integrity of elections over the past 4 years. Was it even likely he was going to win in a primary? Because it seemed like there were a lot of Republicans that were angry at the way that elections are run, fairly or unfairly.
Dennis, he could have won that race. It's time for some honesty here. So you cannot be a Republican county recorder and say I'm voting for Joe Biden. That was the mistake. He was in a three-way primary.
I think he was trying to be honest in that.
He was, but there was 100 things you could say. But you can't tell Republicans you're voting for Joe Biden in a Republican primary. He was in a three-way race. You had 2 candidates that were to the right of him. It was easily a winnable race, and that was the comment that killed him. And that's just the God's honest truth. Sorry.
Well, and as a recorder, it's totally okay to say my vote is private, as everyone's should be. I mean, that really when he signaled he was voting for Biden, I think we all just gasped.
And this sets up a general election matchup between current state lawmaker Justin Heap, who beat Mr. Richer. He's going to represent the Republican side, and newcomer Timothy Stringham, that a lot of people don't know much about in the general election. Does Stringham have a chance on that?
Oh, yeah. I think we're all going to know Stringham really well very soon, because money is going to come in both locally and nationally to make sure that this seat doesn't fall to a lunatic. And Heap has done some very strange things in his disavowing mail-in ballots and wanting to end drop boxes. And he is not the right person to run elections in Maricopa County.
And he has supported legislation. He's been very careful, not to say that he's 100% sure that the elections are stolen, but he has supported legislation as sort of like that, election denier inspired type of legislation. He has
or as
supported,
we like to say, election integrity.
Tinfoil hat?
I will tell you, this is a perfect example of why the top of the ticket is so important. If Harris stays, and Republicans got to, we predicted a year ago on this show that Joe Biden wouldn't be the candidate, right? So you've had plenty of time to get ready for this scenario. If Harris stays competitive in Arizona, there's a lot of money coming into that campaign. I think she's up to $300 million now. If they have so much money to be competitive in Arizona, they have enough money to be competitive in that county race, and a whole host of other races. And so, you know, Republicans got to get back on the offense. This whole thing has sucked the air out of the room. Trump came off the best 2 weeks of his entire life, and the entire air got sucked out of the room by this announcement. It's going to continue to get sucked out as you go into convention. You got a VP being announced. You're going into Democratic convention. Republicans got to get back on the offense.
Well, let me ask, are there going to be some Republicans that jump into this recorder race and support the Democrat candidate in this race because they're not comfortable with Heap?
You can always find a Republican to cross party lines. I mean, that's just, the bar is not that high. And you can always find a Democrat to cross over. And so, yes, I expect that to happen.
All right, let's move on now. Got to tell you, man, the sheriff's primaries were certainly surprising. Right now, we've got Jerry Sheridan, Republican Jerry Sheridan, won his primary. He's Joe Arpaio's. He was chief deputy for Joe Arpaio, and
I like that you're using the official title, but yes.
yeah, and then you have Tyler Camp with won the Democratic primary in a matchup I don't think anybody really predicted. What's going to happen there? Both of these candidates are carrying a lot of baggage into the general election.
Well, I think we're going to go back to the fact that Maricopa County continues to reject extremists. You cannot deny that Arpaio's henchman is an extremist. I mean, we can't go back. This, to Marcus's point, this is going to be very much the theme of the Harris campaign, and it's going to trickle down. Believing in trickle-down politics here, trickle down to some of the lower races on the ticket, and this is certainly one of them.
Yeah, in Camp, obviously he's been accused of harassing a woman and whatnot, but Jerry Sheridan has said on the debate stage in the primary that he's interested in bringing back Tent City. Is that kind of comment going to be helpful for him in a general election?
Yeah, but actually, ironically, it probably will be. But remember, Republicans sort of hold, let's just give it a generous 5%, but last probably 3% edge on these crime and justice issues. So, they already have a little bit more going for them for sheriff, for AG, for county attorney, those types of races. And I think that'll sort of count in this race. What's interesting about this, of course, is it wasn't Joe Arpaio didn't endorse him. Joe Arpaio endorsed Milstead. So there's so much drama in this race alone.
And that's really real quick too. Frank Milstead was the former director at DPS, and he didn't perform very well. What happened there?
Well, I think he went to the Wadsack School of Driving, right? Mm-hmm. And he got himself in trouble with one-car accidents and his trying to claim immunity when he got pulled over, behaving poorly with an ex.
It's
just a few things.
Just a couple things.
So both he and Wadsack need to go to driving school and, kind of get it back together.
All right. Let's wrap up on this. The way the primaries turned out, it looks like there's going to be a few competitive county board seats that gives Democrats an opportunity to pick up and potentially take control of the county board. Is that a realistic opportunity for Democrats?
It will be if, again, Harris stays competitive in Arizona and the money flows and voter enthusiasm's up. All these other factors. Yes, it's a possibility, but everything's a possibility. It's a possibility it could be a 4-1 board. We just don't know how this is going to shake out.
All right, we're going to have to end it right there, and that is all the time we have. Be sure to join us next week for more Politics Unplugged. Good night. I like the way you preface everything.